Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. It's actually Town of Old Saybrook night tonight, and we're also going to introduce you to the new superintendent of schools in the Town of Old Saybrook. But before we get to all that, we want to welcome Dr. Krista Bachman, who is the principal of the Old Saybrook Middle School. Dr. Bachman, welcome. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for having us. Good to see you again.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. And I understand you have someone else sitting with us, and I'll let you do the introduction.
I do. This is our new incoming superintendent, Chris Drezick. He is coming to us from Enfield and will be joining us officially on Tuesday next week.
Cool. Chris, welcome. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming down. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background being a superintendent in Enfield.
I've been the superintendent for the Enfield Public Schools for the last 7 years.
Okay.
And prior to that, I was the deputy superintendent for 5 before that. So it's a bit of a different environment, but I've been doing this quite some time. So
yeah, you like it?
I love it. Wouldn't want to do anything else.
No. And Kristen, now you, since Jan Peruccio retired, I believe you were the interim?
Yes, I've been filling in as the interim since April.
Okay.
Yep.
You like it?
It's been fun. It's been a really good learning experience, and I've enjoyed my time there, and I will be happy to turn it over to Chris in about 1 week.
We may not let her.
No.
No? No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Now, Kristen, now tell us a little bit about what it entails to be an interim superintendent as far as what's going on.
Well, this time of year, there's a lot of just managerial things that need to occur between union negotiations that are occurring with some of our unions, planning for summer retreat, taking care of end-of-year budgeting, purchasing, so forth. So at this point in the year, it's a lot of kind of ending the school year, cleaning up, finishing out evaluation processes for our staff, and then start planning for the following school year. So it's kind of an exciting time of year to be the interim superintendent. A lot going on all at the same time.
How many more days left of school?
I don't know that exact answer. I know it's June 13th is the last day, but I actually don't count because I really enjoy what I do every day. So.
Okay, so it's June 13th is graduation.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And hopefully it's nice out, because when I graduated from Morgan back in 1994, and I will never forget this. So we graduated at the old Morgan, which is now Big Y in Clinton.
Yep.
And we're all lined up. The band starts. We start processing out. We get to our seats. Mother Nature and the skies open up.
No.
The skies open, so we have to reprocess. They reprocess back in. Luckily for us, they had the gymnasium all set up.
Just in case.
Inside with the chairs and everything, just in case. So we had to reprocess back in. But I know you guys usually graduate outside, correct?
Typically, they graduate outside as long as the weather's good. Last year, unfortunately, it was not, so we had to do it in the auditorium.
Okay.
It was still nice in the auditorium, but it is nice to be able to do it outside. So we're hoping for the kids and the families that we're able to do it in that space outside.
It is. Now let's talk about the transition from Jan to you.
Okay, so I guess I kind of feel like the interim, right? Really trying to fill the gap between the two, and making sure that we follow through with our current goals and helping Chris understand where the district currently is, and working towards those goals in our strategic plan. Understanding some of the culture of our district, understanding some of the folks that are in town as well as in our schools, and helping him come up with the beginnings of who he needs to talk to and who he wants to speak with to get to learn about the town and learn about the district, which he's looking forward to doing.
Now let's talk about the transition from you to Chris.
So I have a whole folder of things and a notebook, and I've been working on putting those together, and we've been meeting. He comes down about once a week, and we've been meeting regularly and talking about the things that are coming up and trying to prep him to finish the school year, because he's coming in kind of in a unique time right at the end of the school year.
The end of the year.
And then over the summer, we'll be able to work together some more and plan for the following year together. And I think that will be a great way for him to transition in, get to know everybody, get to know our district, and really lead us to that next level of work.
You look so excited.
I am very excited, and it's my fault. Krista's not joking about the folder that she has for me, so much so that it's my fault she didn't get to have dinner before we came over here because I kept her working right up to the last minute for us to leave. So it's my fault.
That's okay.
It's totally on me. But honestly, it's not often, or at least in my experience, I haven't changed jobs in nearly 20 years I've been in Enfield. But I have a lot of colleagues who do make transitions, and I kind of hit the jackpot. Coming in after someone like Jan, who's not only extremely well respected and beloved in the community,
yes,
but she could not have been more welcoming and warm to me throughout the transition during this time, and I'm forever be grateful for that. And then even more so, having Krista come in as the interim between Jan and myself, I've had the last 90 days or so to really have an opportunity to spend a lot of time with Krista during this transition and realize what a amazing person she is and a
yes,
strong administrator, but really understanding how lucky this community is to have her as not just the intern, but also as the middle school principal. And for me, selfishly, I couldn't have asked for a better situation to come into as a new superintendent with the people that have been helping me along the way. So I'm very grateful for that.
Now, have you had gotten out and met any of the townspeople yet?
I've started. I've been through all the schools, some more than once. I haven't met everyone yet. That was my goal. It was about a 90-day transition between my old job and my new job, which starts next Tuesday.
Yep.
I was really hopeful to get out and meet as many people as I could. I just haven't had an opportunity because I still have a day job, so I haven't been able to get up here as much as I would have liked to. So I've met a lot of people, but not all. But hopefully they'll get sick of me pretty quick because I'm going to try to get over there as much as humanly possible.
Now, is there a difference between the Enfield school system and the school system down here in Old Saybrook?
Yeah, I mean, most predominantly is the size.
Okay.
So obviously Enfield's a larger community. I have 11 schools and programs and about 5,000 students as compared to three buildings here and about 1,000 kids. So it's a much different size, but I am really looking forward to it. A lot of folks that I have spoken with throughout the transition have been, it's gonna be weird going from a big place to a small place. And really the way I look at it is I'm gonna have an opportunity to get to know every single student because there's only 1,000 of them as opposed to the 5,000 students in my district now. I'm gonna try, can't make that promise, but that's one of the things I'm aspiring to do. So I'm excited, extremely excited to start next week with the hope that I get an opportunity to meet as many people as possible as soon as I get here.
And the other good thing that when you came in where you came in, it's after budget season.
True, but I'm still in a budget season where I am. That's what's taken me so long to get down here, yes.
Oh, are you?
Unfortunately, the Enfield budget process doesn't wrap up until really the end of this month. So it's been, that's been a bit of a hindrance on the transition because I'm needed back there more than I was hoping to be. But the Enfield community has been wonderful to me for the last 20 years. So I want to make sure that I leave there and start my new life here with everything. I know Old Saybrook's in good shape because not only with Jan, but obviously having Krista be a resource for us and for me personally and for the district has been phenomenal.
Now, you guys have a town manager up in Enfield, correct?
We do, yes. Great guy. Chris Bromson's our town manager. He was a previous town manager. He left for a bit. He actually came back recently. He and I are very close. We're really, really well together. Over the last probably 15 years, we worked together. And I had an opportunity to meet the first selectman on one of my trips up here too. So equally seems like a wonderful man, and I was very warm and welcoming to me during my initial meeting with him, and I really look forward to working with him down the road as well.
And I know because I live in the town of Clinton, and we have a town manager. We have a town manager form of government, so I'm familiar with this, that, and the other. And people say all the time, how come he's not out doing public events? That's not his job. He's not paid to do. He's paid to be in the office to do what he needs to do. The town council, the chairman, the head of the town council is the one who you see at the ribbon cuttings, at the grocery stores, marching in the parades and all that other.
I've been very fortunate in my experience with the town manager that we've always looked at our roles as being partners.
Right.
You know, we're the largest department in the town as the Board of Education, and the town has responsibility, obviously, for running the community, and that we have an obligation to the community to make sure that we work together closely and we're always on the same page. So I've been very lucky with the people I've had the experience working with, and I don't see that changing here either.
No. Christy, you seem awful quiet over there. Do you have something you'd like to add?
I think that Chris is going to be a great addition to our community. I think the people that he's met already, I think, have welcomed him and are excited to work with him, and so am I. So
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a great fit.
Now, as far as the going from a school of 5,000 to the school of 1,000, that's got to be a pretty
Yeah, a bit. It's a little different.
different jump.
It's different, but like I said, I'm excited for it. I look at it as an opportunity that I get to know everybody better
Right.
than I would maybe in my current role, because sheer volume.
Oh, yeah.
And the amount of, and I shared this with staff that I am in Enfield was, we graduate about 400 kids a year. So when we go across the stage, I like to think I know at least half of them personally or have had interactions, but there's a lot. That's a lot of kids.
Right.
When you're graduating, less than 100, there's no excuse for me not to know every student that comes.
Exactly.
Unless they don't want to know me. That's
Right.
They're right. But I am looking forward to that opportunity.
Now, as far as the school year goes, how's it looking? Obviously, we're about to end this year. How's it looking for the fall?
I think that we will be continuing year 4 of our strategic plan.
Okay.
Continuing to work on high quality instruction, I think, is going to be our main focus next year. And making sure that we have teachers ready to go with a new evaluation system, which is something that's been put in place at the state level that we needed to update our teacher evaluation system. So we're in the process of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's room for us to make growth in those particular areas using that system as well.
Now let's talk about the strategic plan. What exactly is it, and what does it entail?
So the strategic plan is basically a vision for where we want the district to go over a 5-year period.
Okay.
It includes work from stakeholders in the community, families, students, obviously our Board of Ed, educators, that put together where we think our top priorities need to be over that 5-year period. And our focus for this 5-year period is equity, high quality instruction, and student well-being, involving that social emotional piece for students. So really looking at the whole child.
Chris, you have something you'd like to add?
I didn't memorize it yet, Pete.
Okay.
Large document. I'm obviously familiar with it.
Is it in the folder?
It's in the folder.
Oh, okay.
We did. That was one of the things she pulled out today. She's like, this is where we are. But it does show a commitment by the community, obviously led by the Board of Education in partnership with the district.
Right.
The commitment this community has to the system and to making sure that we're affording the opportunity for all of our kids in our community to aspire what they want to be. That was really throughout this process for me, something that stood out was really just listed even in the district's vision statement, was the word aspiration. And you don't often hear that in our line of work. We often tell kids what we want them to do or what we expect them to do.
Right.
But we leave out the piece of, well, what do they want to do? What do they aspire to do with their lives, and we're that vehicle to get them there. And that was evident throughout this process, either through obviously the interview process, but getting a chance to speak to some stakeholders, that there is really a commitment within this community to give our kids the opportunity to aspire to what they want to be in their life, and the strategic plan lines that up. Exactly. So that's, again, I didn't know there was going to be a quiz today, Pete, or else I would have studied a little bit better.
No, you're fine.
I think Krista already gave me the quiz before we got here.
She did.
Yes.
I was prepping him.
Oh, you were prepping him. And I have to let you know, maybe we'll give you a couple months to get in your feet wet, but then I want to come over and maybe tour one of the schools with you. The only schools I've been in is the high school, when I was meeting with Karina, the job coach.
Oh, using.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. because she usually helps me facilitate students who need credits
Yes.
to volunteer.
Yes. Yes. Which is a great opportunity for them.
Yes.
Thank you for being a part of that.
Yes.
For our students.
Yeah.
That's great.
Not a problem. And maybe in the spring, maybe in the fall, we'll continue to utilize, because I'm assuming that they get credits for when they volunteer and for community service hours.
They get community service hours, which they need to graduate, which is important too.
And how many community service hours do you need to graduate? I don't know the answer to this question.
No, I don't know exactly at the high school what the hours are. I'm sorry.
All right. You don't know?
I don't know. I got the strategic plan down though.
It's in the folder.
Everything's in the
somewhere.
folder.
That answer is it's in the folder. And with Jan leaving and Chris coming on, is Trent still there?
Trent is still
Oh,
there.
excellent.
Yes.
Okay.
You better be.
Yes.
I was gonna say, when I first started to get to Jan, I had to go through Trent.
Yeah, he's a
And he's a nice guy.
gatekeeper. He is.
Him and I have gotten to know each other, and it's
He is.
like, and it went with Jan.
He's
So-
going to be very helpful, I think.
So I
in
want to have
helping
Jan
transition.
on. Oh, okay, when? Let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy.
Yeah. He's helpful, I think. He's going to help Chris, I think, transition as well. He's got a lot of great systems in place that will help.
Trent has been amazing so far these last almost 3 months as part of the transition. As soon as I was officially on board, we've been in communication, and he's been a godsend for me to get my head straight on cleaning up where I am and coming here. So Trent's been great.
Nice. Would you guys mind sticking around for another segment?
Sure.
Sure.
All right, we'll be right back.
'Tis the season for giving. Did you know that 40% of charitable donations are received during the last few weeks of the year? Unfortunately, there are some Scrooges out there who want to take advantage of those of us in the giving spirit. Watch out for overly emotional appeals or the pressure to give right away. Those are red flags of a scam. A reputable charity will take your donation as much tomorrow as it will today. So make sure to give yourself time to do research. You can start at give.org, the foundation arm of Better Business Bureau, which accredits charities just like BBB accredits businesses. Charities can demonstrate they are trustworthy by agreeing to in-depth evaluations to see if they meet BBB's standards for accountability. Also, be cautious about name confusion. When charities seek support for the same cause, the names can sometimes appear similar. Before you give, be sure you have the exact name of the charity to avoid a case of mistaken identity. To see a list of accredited charities and learn more about the signs of a scam, visit give.org.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Krista and Chris from the town of Old Saybrook. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Krista is the interim superintendent of schools, and Chris is the new superintendent of schools starting a week from Tuesday.
A week
That is
from
correct.
Tuesday, correct.
You ready?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I hope. There's no turning back now.
Now, as far as, let's talk about your philosophy and your vision for Old Saybrook.
Sure. So one of the things that appealed me to this community was the commitment this community has to its district and to its kids.
Okay.
And it lined up with what I believe in. And what I believe in is what we're all here for. Sometimes the day-to-day, and Krista's learning this in her current role, you can get distracted at points in times when you're, all the things she mentioned earlier about closing out a year and evaluations and budgets and all that stuff. I haven't met an educator who got into this line of work for that stuff.
Right.
You got into this line of work because you want to make a difference in a kid's life. And that was evident to me throughout this process and the people I got an opportunity to speak with, that my philosophy on being student-centered and being here for the betterment of our kids, to help them reach their highest potential, lines up with what this community already believes in. And that for me was one of the probably the most important commonality that I had with what I believe in and what the district and folks here who run it had to. And I know that was something that was very important to I don't know if I can call her my predecessor, but Jan.
Sure.
who we share a lot of the same beliefs in the same belief system. So that's my philosophy. I share with staff members when they come for ideas. I'll listen to anything, I'll support anything, but it's always going to start with, how does this benefit kids?
Right.
And if it benefits kids, I'm all ears, I'll listen to it. So I have not met anyone in this community yet that doesn't believe that either. So I'm extremely excited about that.
Now, did you have a chance to work with Jan between the transition?
Yes, so
Yeah.
Jan and I were old colleagues back in our previous lives. So we knew each other briefly professionally, but once it was official that I was going to be appointed, I was able to talk to her for the first time, and she was amazing for me through this process. She didn't have to help as much as she did, but she did. She was always there, and she made a commitment that I can always call her, and I plan on taking her up on it. So
And I still
hopefully
call her.
she's not watching. Because she won't answer if she's watching this, and then she'll know it's my number.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, she has been an amazing as a colleague, and over this past process developed into a friend, and I'm extremely grateful for everything she's done.
Yeah, she was wonderful
Fantastic.
with me.
Yes.
And it's like, anytime I'm like, I've got to fill in, I've got a time slot to be filled. Are you around? She's like, I'll be down. Okay.
Doesn't surprise me.
No, she's a wonderful person.
She is.
Yes.
And I'm sure she's gonna be missed by the community. And
No
Chris?
pressure.
No,
Pete, huh?
no,
Thanks.
no.
Thanks, Pete. Yeah. Oh, big shoes to fill there.
There you go.
Yeah.
So as far as obviously the school year is about to wind down, and now you guys don't take the summers off.
No, we work through the summer.
You guys work
we'll
through the
take some
summer.
time, but we work through the
but
summer. Yep.
You guys work through the summer and normally when you guys work through the summer, you get ready for the upcoming school year and do budgets and do all that other fun stuff, correct?
It's a lot of
Yes.
planning over the summer, a lot of setting next set of goals, identifying what professional development we're going to need, at least at the building levels. That's a lot of the work that happens in the summertime.
Right.
Putting systems into place, making sure that our meetings and so forth are aligned. So there's a lot of alignment between the three buildings and with central office, as well as really planning for what those next steps are going to be to reach those next set of goals for the following year. But that's at the building level. I don't know, you want to add to that for central office?
Well, you have to look at it from the district perspective as well, but I think what Krista says is important. We can't do things in a silo either. So as a district, if there's something happening in a building, particularly in a district that's relatively small, everyone needs to have an idea of what everyone else is doing, because at the end of the day, it's the most important thing is how this is going to have an impact on kids pre-K through 12. So there's a lot of planning at the district level. Obviously, what I do in my current role isn't much different just based on size and based on volume, but I don't want to speak too much because I may have a different idea that you haven't done yet, and I don't want to disappoint Krista, so I won't. I'm
Might be a
kidding.
surprise
I'm
to me.
joking.
It might be.
You think you know what you're doing this summer, Krista, but I'm kidding. I'm totally joking.
And what's the upcoming school year looking like in starting? Now, you guys go back before Labor Day?
August 29th, I believe, is the
Okay.
first day of school for this year. So
Okay.
yes, we typically go back before Labor Day.
Okay, yeah. When I was in high school, we went back after Labor Day.
Yeah, yeah.
Some places do, some places don't. Of course, some places do get out earlier, depending on the weather.
This is true, but it allows us to have some professional development days at the beginning of the school year. It allows
Right.
us to build in some professional development days throughout the year to work with our staff and help build their capacity. And the kids get a little extra break in there too.
Yeah, because when professional development days are around, obviously the kids aren't in school.
Correct. Unless we have an early dismissal professional development day, which occasionally happens. We have, I think, 5 of those built into our calendar as well, which is really helpful for the staff to be able to get together, work in PLCs or look at data together and refine instruction.
All right, you just threw a term at me. What's a PLC?
PLC, Professional Learning Community. So oftentimes teachers will work together on a particular problem of practice, a particular area that they want to improve on.
Okay.
And they may share lessons with each other. They may do what we call tuning protocols, where they get feedback on their lessons from the other staff members. They may be looking at data to make decisions about what strategies are working in classrooms and what they need to do next. They could be designing assessments. They could be working on curriculum. So there's a variety of things that happen on those professional development days. It's really important time for our staff,
Right.
to be able to work together collaboratively, because they don't have a lot of that time built into their days.
No. And I'm sure you've had your share of professional development days.
I do. I was going to say, don't feel bad, because in that infamous folder was an acronym cheat sheet that Krista left for me as well. I knew the answer, but it was good to
Okay.
have. So we'll make
Yes.
sure we get you a copy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That-
So now you know for next time.
There we go. There we go. Now, do you plan on going into the schools next year when the school year starts to introduce yourself to?
I plan on going next week. I've been, like I said earlier, I've been fortunate to get to each school at least once.
Okay.
The middle school more than once because of the proximity to where central office is. But my goal is to hit the ground running and get into the buildings as quickly as possible. That's really the most important part, I think, for my transition or the entry plan. Nobody knows me at
No.
this point, other than the few conversations that I've been able to have. So before anyone has an opportunity to find out, what does this guy believe in? And,
Exactly.
and in case they're not watching,
Right.
I get an opportunity to hear them directly from me. So establishing relationships is something that's extremely important to me. And I'm a firm believer that having conversations individually, in groups, face-to-face meetings with people as often as possible is really at the heart of it. So
Now, as far
I'm coming on Tuesday.
there you go. Now, as far as for more information on the district, everything's on the website, correct?
Everything is on, right?
Yes,
Okay.
everything is on
That's
the
what you told me.
I hope.
I'm kidding. Yes.
Yes, it is.
I hope, which is on the screen right now, and everything can be found there. Email addresses, contact information, a little bit about
School calendars.
schools.
Yep.
Calendar.
Yep, there's a
everything's-
website for each school.
Okay.
All sorts of good information there.
Cool. Well, we're about to run out of time, so that was the quickest half hour I've ever experienced, but that's a good thing.
We set a record on our first time. We should
I know
come back.
we
We're coming back together.
I know we set a record. Well, you know what? You can come back together. Maybe next time I have you on, I'll bring Carl Fortuna with me.
Oh, there we
That'd
go.
be great.
That would,
Yeah.
that would be fun.
Oh, great.
That would be fun. So, Krista, thanks for coming on tonight. Chris, we'll see you soon.
Thank
All
you
right.
for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right.
On behalf of Krista and Chris, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks, good night, and we'll see you next week.